Hey, what's up, everybody? I thought today would be a good day to do a review on my Fluvel. This is an all-in-one 9.5 gallon. I use it to breed my black bar endlers, as well as I have some celestial pearl danios in there. And I had one surviving Indian glassfish that you can see right there from another tank. And I placed him in here kind of as a dither fish to break up a little bit of the aggression between the endlers and the danios. Not aggression towards each other, but aggression towards the same species. And that just comes with the territory, literally. So what's going on in this tank? Well, I have said before that I did hot rod the filter on here. I took the sponge out because it comes with a 3-stage sponge system, meaning that it's a large rectangular shaped sponge that has chambers. And there's a chamber in the bottom for your ceramic media or whatever you decide to use, bagged, of course. And there's a chamber in the top which is used for activated charcoal, meaning that's what it comes with, not what I use it for. I stuff that portion with filter floss, as well as I stuff the chamber to the left of my camera, which would be right through here, beyond the sword. I stuff that as well with filter floss, and what that does for me is it stops any baby shrimp or baby endlers from getting sucked up in there or just swimming off into there. It also works as a primary, I guess you'd say, polishing pad before it would reach the second stage filter. And then the second stage filter, of course, leads to the third chamber, which is to this side of the tank. And that third chamber houses the pump as well as my heater. So I'm returning warm water into the tank, as well as killing two birds with one stone, making it so that it's not visible in here. I also fill the tank through those, which means that I don't disturb my substrate, although anybody who's been around the industry for a long time knows how to alleviate that problem just by pouring over a bucket or a glass or something as well. So for me, it was more aesthetic. It gave me more surface area in the tank to play with, and it was just something that wasn't showing. So what's going on in this tank? I've got some jungle val, I've got swords, I've got some java fern growing on that artificial piece of wood in there. That is the only artificial piece in any of my tanks. And why did I get it? Originally, I stuffed it with moss, and it was used for breeding my blue leer killifish. Now, it's so overgrown with plants, and the javas are growing into it that I just can't part with it. And I think it looks really good. I've also got a melon sword in the back and a red sword up here, the flame sword on the front left that's just taking off. I did just dose this tank with Flourish XL as well, so it should really go. Now, this tank's pretty simple. I don't do a whole lot to it. Filtration is pretty self-explanatory. I told you what's going on there. Heating is the same. I've just got the heater that'll work for a 9.5 gallon, and I set it at, I think this tank runs normally at 78 to 79. Now, that isn't necessarily ideal for the mortality of the tiger endlers, because they will grow faster, they will metabolize quicker, they will look awesome quicker, but it also shortens their lifespan a bit. So in a perfect world, if I wasn't selling these guys on the regular, I'd probably be keeping my temperature around 72 to 73, much like I do my guppies. But when you're breeding and trying to get quick growth, you want them to metabolize quick and eat fast and poop and do all that fun stuff. So anyhow, this tank is, oh, there's my finger. This tank is really easy to care for. Like I said, I am very anti-invasive on this tank. I don't do a lot. I don't trim the plants. I don't get in there and gravel vac. I know some of you are saying, oh my God, you don't gravel vac that tank. No, I don't. I have plants in here. I don't want to disturb things. I have ram's horn snails laying eggs in here. I've got shrimp in here as well as baby shrimp. And the last thing I want to do is go ahead and suck up any of those guys and, mess with the population in here. So, no, I don't gravel vac. And is this tank dirty? Not at all. This tank's very clean. I have good filtration. I have adequate biological media in here as well. which is probably a lot more than I need for a tank of this size. But I always go big with the biomedia, and I don't, skimp around that, because that's a really important part in keeping your tank from crashing or having any issues. But yeah, so that's the Fluville 9.5. It's an all-in-one. Love this tank. It sits on the counter in my kitchen. Pretty sure a fruit fly just flew up my nose. Excuse me. But it's a really great tank if you want to grow out some nanofish. I'd say anything from pencilfish to your smaller variety of guppies would do well in here. Now, I wouldn't overstock it with guppies. I wouldn't overstock it necessarily with anything. But for a breeding tank for something like endlers, shrimp especially, this is a wonderful tank. They don't mess with anybody in here. Everyone seems to get along well. The celestial pearl danios are doing their spawning thing right now in the back, so none of them are visible at this point. Of course, when I'm trying to film, they make their way to the back, but you can see, I think one of the males was just cruising beyond those plants back there. You can see his tail just sticking out, and yeah, he's probably displaying for the female back there and, doing his thing. I got a little bit of brown hair algae in this tank. A little bit of blackbeard algae. I run the light pretty high in here. You can see some right there. I'll clean that up myself, or the snails will do their job. Again, not a tank that I put a lot of work into, but it's a tank that I love, and every time I'm in the kitchen, I like to sit here and just watch what's going on. So anyhow, I hope you guys are all doing well, and I hope your tanks are running amazing. If you have any questions or comments, throw them down below. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. And help me share my wealth of knowledge in fish, and teach me some things along the way too, because I love learning new stuff. So I've been in the hobby for a long time, but I do not know everything, and I may not be able to answer your questions as accurately as you want, but I'll do my best. So anyways, guys, have a great weekend. We'll talk to y'all soon.